What is the most unusual thing you've done while naked? Went to a spa with my boyfriend, a good friend of mine, and her boyfriend, who also happens to be my ex. There must be more to that story. We need the story update on this. SP, you're naked at a spa? I assumed people had at the very least towels around themselves. I never been to a spa though. Also, it sounds like a bad romance movie. Your good friend and ex are dating and it's cool, lol. Well, that's one way to keep things interesting at the spa. Who needs a steam room when you've got your own personal ex-boyfriend sauna? Probably a job interview. I was waiting for the call for a phone interview. They did not give me the X plus act time, they just said sometime afternoon. It was 11:30, so I figured I had time for a quick shower. Put my phone on the counter. Well, they called mid-shower and I immediately hopped out and answered my phone still dripping with water. Sat on the toilet and talked for like half an hour. I got the job. So some of the most philosophical and deep conversations take place on toilets. Plot twist. He planned it because he would interview better. Attended a 9 Inch Nails concert. Edit, this was not all that unusual. It was Woodstock 94, so out of the couple 100,000 people on the grounds, naked was still less common than clothed in cheesy, overpriced, knockoff pseudo-hippie gear from Pacific Sun or wherever. But there were thousands of us puffing, passing, and mosh pitting wearing only a thin layer of sweat. Same answer for me. Great set. I still watch it on YouTube about once a year. Mayhem. Pre or post Downward Spiral? It had been out a while. Though, most of the crowd had probably never heard any of it except Closer. Hello and welcome. Ever had a moment where clothes were optional? Share your most unique naked experience in the comments below. Let's embrace the quirks of life and keep the laughter flowing. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more hilarious content. Baked a cake. Without even an apron? How liberating. Nope, haha, I was alone at home and my boyfriend wanted to video call for activities, but I also had to bake a cake at that time, so I set the camera so he can see the whole kitchen and just watch me bake in the nude. Wow, #partner off year. That is very wholesome. Tried to make a stir fry but ended up accidentally inventing a new form of interpretive dance called the flaming walk shuffle. Not fully naked, technically, but when I was a toddler I'd run around in just a button-up shirt or a jacket and pretend to be Chip or Dale, Rescue Rangers. They didn't wear pants, so my logic was solid. Donald ducking it. Winnie the Pooh. Porky pigging it. Sprints on a treadmill. Super uncomfortable with my elephant face flapping about. They have developed a garment for that, I believe. But the form-fitting elephant doesn't control the trunk for anything. Had a friend who drove across the state of Kansas naked on a road trip. What was the motivation? I ask as somebody who's about to drive across Kansas. Relieve the boredom of driving across Kansas? I live Kansas adjacent, Missouri, and frequently have to travel west on I-70. The shit you think of to break the monotony. The only drive worse, in my mind, is I-80 across Nebraska and Wyoming. Do it naked. You only live once and hopefully only drive across that flat-ass state once. Once, I played strip poker with my cat, but let's just say he didn't have the best poker face. Or any face, really. Cartwheels down the middle of the barracks. Did you lose a bet? Nope, just a cookie kind of guy. I misread that as cookie kind of guy and am now buying Oreos today. I misread it as a cocky kind of guy. Let's just say I took my morning yoga routine to a whole new level when I attempted a naked downward dog in the middle of a crowded park. Cooked bacon, not a great idea. Ouch. I did that shirtless once. Never again. I've always cooked bacon in the oven on a cookie sheet. You are right, I don't know what was I thinking that day, and it was like a lot of bacon, almost 1 kilogram. Learned it working in restaurant kitchens and other commercial kitchens I've worked in. Bacon comes out as nice strips, and here we are talking about being nudity, thanks radar. Once, I attempted to do naked jumping jacks in my kitchen, but let's just say I found a very creative way to season my salad with a sprinkle of paprika and a dash of embarrassment. Crawled along the train track in Paris. On the actual rails? You wanted the train to derail and do you dirty, didn't you? They wanted the train to rail them. When I did my interpretive dance routine synchronized streaking at the water park, let's just say it made quite the splash. And not just the cannonball kind. Appeared on stage. Hope you were paid. Well, not really. It was for a short play I wrote. Local theater wanted to produce it, but they couldn't find an actor willing to get naked on stage. I volunteered. The play also calls for two women to also get naked. Weirdly, that was easier to cast, so I got paid for the production, but not for my acting. It was a blast. Nothing sexual about the play whatsoever, but it was definitely a rush. I believe it is harder to find a guy willing to go naked because he would not be able to hide a random boner. Well, let's just say I gave a whole new meaning to dressing up when I attended a nudist costume party, and let's just say my birthday suit was a hit. Played piano in front of an audience. If you recorded it, I might have seen you naked. I have, in fact, done that. Cupically.com. Profile checks out. I once decided to try my hand at naked gardening, but let's just say it wasn't long before the neighborhood squirrels started demanding privacy fences. It was common in the 50s for swimming lessons at the YMCA to be given to nude boys. It creeped me out then and still does. You were conscious in the 50s? That's how I kept from drowning. Many things. The most recent thing is climbing a tree almost to its top. Rogue branches would concern me. Yeah, they do, but it's a lot of fun. Also, the tree I climbed wasn't of a rough or sharp branch species, so it was not a problem. Magnolia? No dear, I don't know the English name of the tree. I searched that word and that tree wasn't magnolia. I never realized how much fun nature watching could be until I decided to go bird watching in the nude. Let's just say the birds weren't the only ones feeling a little exposed that day. Laugh uncontrollably with my spouse on mushrooms. Place clothes on top but not really wearing it. Mood. I once decided to do some interpretive shadow puppetry while naked, creating an avant-garde masterpiece where my hands transformed into clothing animals that refused to be worn properly. This is by far not the most unusual thing in this thread, but I always clean my shower and guest shower naked. I just spray the cleaner in there, wait 5 to 10 minutes while I clean the outside, then get in and scrub everything down. Then I just cut the water on and rinse it all off, rinse myself off, and boom, clean shower, clean me. I thought this is normal. I've been doing this since I was a child. I thought I was the only one who does this. Flew an airplane. Cockpit. I was his co-pilot. On a Boeing 737. Cocksuck air. Well, going streaking during a dog show may not have won me any awards, but the dogs seem to appreciate the spontaneous fashion statement. Hold my current underwear above my head in my left hand while holding my new USMC issued tighty whitey underwear above in my right hand with 80 other naked guys. Then we all got dressed piece by piece together. Weird times. Same did it by the numbers in Army Baddock. Who did what for y'all to deserve this? That was just processing. Deserves got nothing to do with it. That's weird. Our receiving dude just left the room and told us to put on the skivvies. Not me, but I once saw a guy fully naked taking the trash out in the street. I was crossing the street when I saw him, and when he saw me too he panicked, hid behind the car and waited for me to go away. After a while I had to cross the same street and he was still there. This time he ran full speed in his garden, but we made eye contact and I recognized him. We actually met more than once even though we never spoke to each other. Didn't know he lived there. Lamau. I don't understand the nature of the question. Then again, I'm almost always nude except when I'm out of the house or having company over. I discovered that gardening naked isn't as liberating as it sounds. Especially when you accidentally fertilize your plants with more than just nutrients. Me. Sex. Person. That's not unusual to do naked. Me. It is the way I do it. Took a dump on the hood of my neighbor's Porsche 911. To be fair, it would be hard to do that while clothed. I never thought I'd discover my inner Jackson Pollock, but let's just say that finger painting in the buff turned into a masterpiece. On my white couch. Opened accidentally a door in the bathroom that leads to the hotel floor somewhere in Dublin. I thought it was the door back in my room. Well, let's just say I accidentally turned my bathroom into a permanent exhibit at the Museum of Awkward Situations. Used a big rock to hammer a nail back into the bed frame that broke while in a hostel in West Africa. The world needs your life story written for generations to come. Agree. Well, let's just say I had quite the nailing it moment, but I'm pretty sure the construction workers outside will never look at me the same way again.